Hey guys, I'm tuned in with you guys today on Thanksgiving, and I wanted to share my perspective on the lunar eclipse full moon in Gemini that's coming up on the 30th at 4:30 a.m. at 8 degrees. I first wanted to say that I am in a space of gratitude today, and I hope and pray that all of you have gotten together to enjoy Thanksgiving and really reflecting on the perspective of every day we should be finding things to be thankful for, because when we get into that attitude of gratitude, so to speak, it really does help us and uplifts us. Because as we know, 2020 has been very intense and I don't see it slowing down. And so finding yourself in gratitude and reflecting upon what you're thankful for is important. I hope that you gathered with people that you loved, and I hope that you partaked in a wonderful meal with people that you love. And I know for a lot of us that our values have changed over 2020. And so I first wanted to say thank you for being a subscriber to my channel. And if this resonates with you, share it out, like, subscribe if you're new today. And let's just go a little bit into the chart and the perspective of what we have available for us all at this time. And I love astrology because it's so psychological. It can help us really get on our paths, and it's also, very spiritual. So I love that you can integrate it. I don't find that it's any accident that creator of this universe created the moon, the stars, the planet, the little blue ball that we're residing on in this lifetime. So I find it amazing. I'm not an astrologer, but I do love astrology. And then I will share a couple cards with everybody for the energy of this lunar eclipse full moon happening in Gemini. So, Gemini is about perception. Gemini is about communication. Gemini is known as the twins. To me, I was reflecting on it going left brain, right brain, discernment, feminine, masculine, anything that's of duality and of two, but finding that center on what not only unites us, but also really a time of being a good listener. That came to me as I've been reflecting on this for a few days about this eclipse that's happening, because as we know, eclipses are abrupt endings and beginnings for everybody. And so I think by now, hopefully in the pause of 2020, you've reflected on what you truly value. And we're seeing this having very close, because the north node is in Gemini as well, the north node of the moon, and the south node in Sagittarius. So it's having this conversation between our north node, where we want to head to, and we're seeing it play out in the collective of the south node in Sagittarius, the lower aspect of Sagittarius, of defending belief systems that are just that, just belief systems, thinking that you're right. People lashing out at each other, and it's insane. I feel that we have a huge opportunity to evolve if people will just be still and listen, looking at it different perspectives with this Gemini energy, being able to be open in your center of, wow, I wasn't quite thinking of it that way before, but because I was able to be still and listen, or listen to somebody else's perspective, wow, I really could gain insight on a new perspective and a new perception. So I think that's huge with this Gemini eclipse. And we're also, the lower aspect of that would be taking in too much information, to where it causes you to be unsettled, or just dabbling in so much information. I also had come to me the idea with the Gemini energy of, what are you speaking to yourself? I've said that on my channel often, but what that Gemini energy is, with it being Mercury, is our communication. So the importance of it getting always back to yourself, of You know, what am I speaking to myself? Because it really does start there with all of us. And so I just wanted to point that out. We now, this whole year, have had a lot of retrograde energy. So that is that inner time, inner reflection, so that we could redo things and reflect things. So now, just before this lunar eclipse, full moon in Gemini happening at 8 degrees, Neptune, this big, huge energy of Neptune, is finally stationed to go direct. So on the lower aspect, it can cause clouded thoughts or feeling like you're in a fog. On the higher aspect of Neptunian energy, you know, it can be that energy of, in order for you to decipher all the information, because we are in information overload, there's a lot of deception happening out there. That is a lower octave energy of Neptune, and then the Sagittarius energy, because the Sagittarius sun is what is this lunar eclipse and full moon in Gemini. That's the opposite. The sun is in Sagittarius, the moon is in Gemini. So Sagittarius on the higher aspect can be having us reflect in getting the higher perspective. On the lower aspect of Sagittarius, being too clung into our belief system, or it can also be the energy of exaggeration. And so there's a square aspect with the Neptune going direct at the same time with the North Node. And Neptune on the lower aspect can be escapism, escaping from reality. It can be the exaggeration of information. It can be, on the higher aspect of it, perhaps your daily routine of connecting to that Neptunian energy, because it's really a conversation between you and God with that Neptune energy, meaning, can I be still and listen? And that's where we gain great discernment, is when we are able to tap into that higher energy of Neptune, where we can get spiritual insights, where we can get visions in our dream state, or even in our quiet space of meditation. So really keep tapping into that, because in order for us to release this old belief system where there was a hierarchy of the top-down authority, and going more into the golden age, we're in that transition of being able to really need to, as a human species, be still and listen, and allowing that Gemini energy to have great discernment, having healthy boundaries with yourself and others through communication. You know, turn the TV off, don't listen to the programming. So I think the huge thing right now is being still and listen, and tapping into the cosmic mind, the intelligence and the conversation and the intuition that God gifted us with. Because in the human aspect, because there's so many people that are lashing out and holding on to belief systems, you're seeing them fighting. You're seeing them defending their truth when it perhaps maybe not even be the truth, because they're not being still and listening and tapping into their intuition and their God-given language that we all have. A lot of people are doing that right now because they're stuck in that belief system. Perhaps even hearing from other people information with this Gemini energy of through the media, through communication. And that's where I go back to, it's important how you talk to yourself. You need to speak love to yourself and speak kindness to yourself, because the lower energy of that is, you know, being self-critical. And what we're seeing happen in that collective energy is people lashing out, thinking that their ideals and their beliefs are the only way, and then lashing and projecting that out onto other people. I wanted to share that. So find out where the Gemini full moon and the eclipse is happening in your chart. I know it's happening for me on my South Node in Gemini in my 7th house. So for me, I'm looking at that going, wow, it's really an ending of old ways I used to communicate with myself, old ways of being in relationships because of it being in the 7th house, and really seeing the growth of where you're at right now. If you know nothing about astrology, astrocharts.com on the internet, put in your birth date, put in your time, see where it falls. If you don't know, you know, the particular house that it's showing this is hitting in you, just do a little search. I mean, it's at our fingertips. The information is there. I'm really excited to announce that I ordered myself a Sabian symbol book that is on its way, so I'll be able to share that. And for now, you know, we have the sun at 8 degrees in Sagittarius, where we can really get a higher perspective and allow ourselves to keep evolving. And then we have the 8-degree Gemini moon, and so I'm going to share the 8 degrees of Gemini. Each of us has a particular background of information and wisdom that makes us lean towards our own sense of what best serves us and others. It's all about perception. That's why I've been saying on my channel for so long, be open to be in a place of listening, because listening is intimate, not taking the word of somebody else. You know, there's a lot of that's gone on of hearsay and us coming to assumptions by something we hear. And if we don't sit in our stillness and connect, then we won't truly get the true answers that we're seeking. And we could be having false perceptions and false belief systems of somebody else, even of yourself. So it's super important to be still. And like I said, listening being a very, very high form of intimacy. So each of us has a particular background or information and wisdom that makes us lean towards our own sense of what serves us and others. Building on these past influences, we offer ourselves to every new situation and contribute creatively and fully in the overall well-being of our community. And that is about Gemini. Gemini is about small community. Gemini is about siblings, those that influenced us a lot even when we were younger. Perhaps you've said goodbye to some of you, or some, I have. We didn't resonate. Wasn't able to have my own voice. And so this is what this is ending for me, with it hitting, you know, my 7th house in Sagittarius, with the north-south node of Gemini, excuse me. I'm ruled by Mercury, so I do get a little bit chit-chatty sometimes. And so contribute creatively and fully in the overall well-being of community by bringing freshness of perspectives. And that's where you can do yourself the biggest justice, is to be still. Don't come to your own conclusion just by what hearsay is. The very differences between us all of specialized activities and personal enthusiasms are the components of a collective network of continual cooperation, and the commonality of a direct result of the great multiplicity of seemingly trivial interactions. And this creates the symphonetic fellowship of souls that is our wider community. So where we start, grassroots, right? This is where siblings comes up with Gemini. What we created then may not be the best of what we need to create now. So a lot of us are going through this dismantling energy of what we truly value and saying goodbye to things and whatnot. So it's imperative that each of us is allowed a full opportunity to participate in the exchange of views and open up new facets of personal expression. That's huge. And I just like to share on my channel here the experiences in my life. I wasn't able to have my own voice. My feelings were never valid according to the family I grew up in. And there was like 5 of us, and only 2 of them really ever had a say-so anything. So I was stunted, but I believe I was put into that family to eventually wake up, evolve, and unfortunately wasn't met right where I was at. So this is where it's important to see that other people have a perspective, and that where we can really gain clarity and community is to go, that's her perspective, my perspective, her feelings are valid, your feelings are valid. So where can we still be, you know, in the camaraderie? It's not very well supported yet, and so that's what we're seeing also with the North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. We're not quite there yet for many of us. Only in this way can we expand the sense of self into true spiritual fellowship within the community, each taking full advantage of this extraordinary introspective of purpose. So it's important, and you're doing an honor by going, this is where this person's at, this is where I'm at, but we're able to still be in community and relationships with each other, because that is what is uniquely supported. So the discovery cultural implications of 8 degrees in Gemini, the inevitable results of stretching out to discover who we are. Oops, I didn't touch that, did we? No. I got a new phone, so I'm playing today. The inevitable results of stretching out to discover who we are and what we can do excludes examination of capacity and trials of strength. We are not only challenged to discover what our assertive power can achieve, but also whether we can turn it off and trust it. Because if it goes too far in disharmony, it will be the certain result. We can come to see that the true test of mastery is. So in other words, am I able to change and flip the script of what I communicate with myself? Am I able to start there? Am I able to start small? I know Matt Kahn is a wonderful spiritual teacher, brother, that taught me to do the mirror I love yous, and I was very uncomfortable doing those at first, but the more you did them and the more you felt it in your heart space, the better it felt. Being your unique expression and being in your authenticity is the very thing that everybody is needed to do on this planet, and that's it. Be your authentic self. Be in harmony. Be in that space of the heart and the great discernment to be able to tell yourself, even with healthy boundaries, no when you need to say no. And that's when we'll see a different world, and I'm a firm believer in that. The 8th degree of Gemini is an industrial strike, so it's really wanting us to be able to discern the information, because we're in information overload. And like I said, the lower aspect of this Neptune square with the nodes is people lying and defending information that's possibly not even true. How you take your power back is being true to you and being still. With that Neptunian energy, it's huge, because if we can meditate and we can pause the intellectual mind, we're able to go into our heart space and really seek the truth. And that is in you, it's in me. And so what else do we have? Okay, the Venus energy, guys, and Mercury. The reason I'm looking at Mercury is because it's the ruling planet of this Gemini full moon, and it is in Scorpio. And Mercury in Scorpio is wanting to get to the truth. It's wanting the information, and it's wanting to do the investigating to get to the bottom of the truth. And Venus is also in Scorpio too as well, so it is that having the deep conversations that need to be gotten to the bottom of. And with the Mercury energy there also, you know, really wanting to get to the bottom of the truth. That has an investigative type of energy, Scorpio, to not overload yourself in information and investigate to where there's just, you know, an endless thing, because that can create the lower aspect of that energy, which is being suspicious of everything and everyone, and that is not in harmony as well. So I just wanted to make sure I took the time to let you know the ruling planet of Gemini is Mercury, and it is in the deep sign of Scorpio. So if you are feeling like you're wanting to get to the bottom of things right now, understand that the only way that you get to your truth is within yourself. And because we are in this year of dismantling and we still have a lot of that going on, none of us really knows as a collective where we're headed to. And I have to look back to the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, because this has not happened. You know, these big players haven't joined in the Capricorn structures since I think like the early 1200s, don't quote me. And so we're seeing a lot of this dismantling energy there. And so none of us have witnessed what we're witnessing, especially in 2020. And as these 3 big players in Capricorn are dismantling the old structures so that we can move forward as a collective in a better, harmonious way. So you're not going to have finite direction. I don't think any of us are going to in our life. Where you'll gain clarity is in your still moments and working on you. And so that's imperative. I always call upon God, divine white light, to surround me and fill me up for all of these that I share, and that is so very important for me to share, because I don't believe in any of the connecting without having, the universe, God's protection. And not only that, but that's really what I want to tether to, because ultimately, not being of this world, more just being in it to have this human experience. So I'm going to pull a Cryon message for all of us, just for some inspiration. Find out where this lunar eclipse is happening for you, and in which house, and that'll give you a better indication. I just love it because God created this universe and a snapshot of right exactly, where we were born, what time we were born, and I love that, and that's why I love my astrology chart. It's how I've been learning is, just these little aha moments of studying my own birth chart and finding out how significant those are on an individual level, and then also as a collective, like I said. As above, so below. I freaking love it. I'll hold this up for you. Hold on. My daughter was in the bedroom calling me, so I hope you had a very, very good Thanksgiving. I'm very grateful today. I feel like a huge energy shift within me of, I'm not going to get caught up in the world and the fuckery, because there's so much deception and people holding on to their belief systems when that could not. It's, some of the things that people are sharing, especially on mainstream, are the biggest lies. And if you believe that, I want to just share this with you real quick. Prime example of somebody that is so beautiful, but because she spoke truth and because she stuck up for the underdogs and the working class people, she got outed by Hollywood. She got outed by mainstream media with all this bullshit. Is Roseanne Barr. She is so awake. It's so beautiful. And I used to know somebody in my personal said that, oh, she's so-and-so. No, that was your perception because somebody told you to think that way. Now is a wonderful time for you all, including myself, to be open and not go by what somebody else tells you. That's huge. That's a huge Capricorn energy with Saturn is wanting us all to grow up. And that's the higher octave, the higher energy of Saturn, and it's time. So as above, so below. Your DNA, a multi-dimensional molecule, has within it everything that the universe knows. It carries your Akashic record, all of your lifetimes, all of your spiritual purpose and spiritual being and karma. Everything is in your DNA. When I first channeled this from Cryon, it blew me away. Is it possible that our DNA is actually a spiritual core as well? We tend to be so linear in all things that we experience as humans. We separate chemistry and biology from spiritual things, and some even teach that our bodies are actually a burden to our spirit, creating dark energy all the time that keeps us from enlightenment. Imagine turning this around. Our bodies are filled with God. Our DNA molecule is the blueprint of our cells, an elegant design filled with the love of God. What a concept. It also means that we have a full control over our bodies, since the spiritual component is right there alongside the biological blueprint. Healing can be done from within. This actually leads us to understand one of the core spiritual teachings given to us from the beginning: as above, so below. What is outside of us is also inside of us. To me, this means that within me is the beauty, the knowledge, and the elegance of God, and that is so true. This is the importance of what you speak to yourself. That's why it's so important. It starts within you. Are you in fear? Are you telling yourself you're sick? And this is another thing coming up right now. This is a known fact, and there's people out there who are not in their integrity, who think that your bloodline or my bloodline is less significant than theirs. And this is the push for the vaccinations right now by a particular person that designed some computer software. I won't say his name because he's an evil asshole. There was a study done in 2005 where he presented the MRIs of people's brains. One was very spiritual and, you know, had this knowingness that there was a God and that we're as above, so below, and that we're sparks of God. And he was literally sharing with the CIA his idea of vaccinating people. And this was in 2005, remind you. And this goes right back to that. Our DNA holds exactly what Cryon says. Our Akashic records, our memories. That's why some of us will go, I'm so drawn to, for me, and for instance, I was always drawn to just homesteading and being close to my home and living off the land. It's because it's not my first rodeo of doing that. When you find these things, they come up within you through your DNA. It is very important for you to embrace them, and it's also very important that you never claim family lineage of disease or ailments. You do not dare speak that into your system. What we speak, we become. That is why it is so very important for you to understand that you are a spark of creation itself. What is out there in the cosmos is within us as well. We're all like stardust. We're magical, and I think that's very important to understand. That way we take our power back. Nobody can take it without us giving it. But when we're in our authenticity and we have this knowingness within us, we know when to say no, we know when to say yes, and we thrive to connect to that divine consciousness. Be open to changing and shifting your perspectives with this full moon lunar eclipse. Perhaps reflect upon an old belief system or an old ideal that you used to believe, that you're willing to let go of it, so you can broaden and expand your consciousness. That's divine. That's true healing, and that is what Creator wants for every one of us. So it's time to stop playing small. And as a light worker like myself, I am here to serve a purpose and how I can help the collective, and that is what this channel is for me. So I will be doing a 3-card pack draw for this full moon lunar eclipse in Gemini as well, but I'm going to make this a 2-part video. So if you'd like to tune in after I get that uploaded to pick yourself a pack of messages, I would gladly love to have you there with me. Happy Thanksgiving to all my beautiful friends and subscribers from across the globe. Throw in a comment. I would love to get an interaction going with you guys. Be grateful, be thankful, and if you're not feeling that way yet, do what you can to connect, and make sure that you always know that the truth comes from within you. Pay attention how much information you're taking in, because information overload, and there's so much deception out there too, so we really have to be in the mindset of the truth, the way, stands on its own. Blessings and namaste.